Thanks for having me. For those of you guys who either trade indexes or currencies, gold, oil, this is probably going to be an exciting presentation for you. This is a new way of trading that I'm going to be teaching here today, and I'm excited to share what I've discovered. So I think I should be. Okay, so obviously before we begin, I have to read a risk disclaimer as always, so you guys can understand why risk is so important. No trader will ever make it without understanding risk and risk control. That's a fact. But no representation is being made that the use of this strategy or any system or trading methodology will generate profits. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. There is substantial risk of loss associated with trading securities and binary options and equities. Only risk capital should be used to trade. Trading securities is not suitable for everyone. Futures, options, and currency trading all have large potential rewards, but they also have large potential risks. You must be aware of these risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in these markets. Don't trade with money you can't afford to lose. That means don't take your children's college education or your rent money and fund an account with it. That's not a good idea. This website is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or currencies. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed in this web presentation. The past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. Okay, so before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and encourage you to grab a pen and paper, which you probably already had while listening to Micah's presentation, which was awesome. I was in for the back half of that great presentation. So these are the trade setups I'm going to teach you. I focus on technical analysis, and these are technical based setups that are pretty much math based. They're very systematic. It's kind of if-then statements. If we do this, then this happens, and then you do the appropriate amount of risk per the individual setup. These are my most powerful setups in trading, and I'm happy to share those with you today. In fact, a couple of these setups have gotten me. So on YouTube, for the product I'm about to teach you, I actually have the largest recorded profits in the entire internet, which is kind of cool. So I'm a little bit of a record holder, at least for this product. So today's agenda, I'm going to show you guys what binary options are. Some of you may have heard of them. Some of you may have never heard of them. They are fairly new to the trading world. I'm going to show you guys how they work and why I only trade on Nadex. So there's different binary options platforms out there. Some of them are in Cyprus or more unregulated areas, but Nadex is actually a CFTC regulated broker, and that is, there's only two of them that I'm aware of right now. It's Cantor and Nadex, and those are the only two I recommend you trade, ones that are regulated by the CFTC, not some strange European commission that nobody's ever heard of, run by Russian mobsters. So stay away from that stuff, guys. I'm going to go over why Nadex is really the leading binary options broker in the United States, and then I'm going to talk about the cost of trading binary options so you guys can understand what exactly it takes to fund an account, how much commissions are. We're going to go over all of those details, and then I'm going to go into the 7 reasons traders fail. Most of these things at one point or other in all of our trading careers we can probably relate to, as far as, oh, I've made that mistake, I see that in my own behavior, and just understanding, writing those down and trying to eliminate those behaviors is going to help you, how that's going to help you succeed. And then we're going to move into the charge trade, which is one of my favorite trading setups I use. It can actually be used on stocks, indexes, ETFs as well. And so I encourage you guys to really pay attention in great detail to that. And then I'm going to show you some new steps to success. So let's move on to the next slideshow here. Binary options are the perfect product for a technical analyst. It really is a more simple form of option where you, the trader, are choosing if we're going to be above or below specific levels given a certain expiration time. So you could say in the S&P right now we're trading 26.30 in the futures contract. Do you think we are going to be above, yes, or below, no, that price level by the end of the day? And there's multiple strikes, so you could, choose out of the money options. You can both buy and sell them. If you think we're going to hold the lows of the day here in the S&P, you can say, yes, I think we're going to be above 26.23. Or if you think we're going to hold the highs, you can say, I think we're going to be below 26.32. So what it allows you to do is choose a specific strike price and then determine, based on your analysis, if you believe we will be above or below that level. There is small starting capital, as little as $250. You can actually get funded in an account and begin day trading binary options. There is instant cash settlement. So for traders with smaller accounts or those who are looking to dabble in the markets and learn them without having to risk, say if you were trading traditional options and you wanted to trade options on something like Google or Amazon, those options at the money could be in excess of $1,000, $1,500, and even $2,000 for a single option contract, which is, for most people, puts them outside of the risk metric which they should be trading their accounts. So for smaller accounts, this is a great product to at least jump on a demo. You don't even have to, I actually don't even recommend you jump in live and start trading with real money until you've proven yourself that you can at least be successful on a demo account. The other thing that makes this interesting is there is timed exits throughout the day, which allows you to actually trade different types of news events. Specifically, my favorite ones are the currency news events, which we just had the Bank of Canada rate statement, and if anybody's seen the Canadian dollar move, it absolutely exploded off of that level. So you can trade specific news events, and I actually base a lot of my trades by just looking at the forex calendar and deciding, okay, when are the central bank governors going to speak? When does economic news come out around the world? And then the other part that makes it interesting is there's actually timed exits in the after hours as well at 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. East Coast Standard Time, which if I'm trading the after hours, I am typically looking at things like the Australian dollar. The Australian dollar, their markets are opening as most people are finishing dinner or getting home from work. So it's a perfect product to really trade around the clock and offers opportunities outside of the traditional trading hours that you're used to. You can trade indexes, including the Japanese market, the Chinese market, the German market. If you wanted to pretty much open an account and trade the German markets, that would take a lot more capital and a lot more sophistication than just having one account that allows you to access pretty much all major foreign markets. So that also makes Nadex completely different than your standard brokerage account. Commodities and then currencies are really some of my favorite because of the structuring the trade and the ability to structure the trade around economic news events. And then most importantly, it is CFTC regulated. This is not some random broker out of Cyprus, which you definitely want to stay away from those that find them to be very dishonest brokerage firms that are not regulated under a U.S. government body. There's limited risk, better protection than a stop loss, and virtually limitless trading opportunities. So in a standard futures market or a currency market, the market could continue to move against you and then just pretty much wipe out all of your capital if you don't have stops. And the nice thing about Nadex is whatever the risk you take upon trade entry, say if it's $50, that is the maximum amount you can lose whether or not you have a stop or not. If it goes completely against you and then comes back your way, you don't have to be stopped out of the trade. You can stay in it. So binary options, how do they work? On the left-hand side, that is what's called a Nadex binary option order ticket. And at the top here, you actually see the US 500. So that US 500 is the S&P 500 futures market, which the S&P 500 futures market is it is the most liquid index futures product out there. It's very hard to manipulate. They're going to offer all four major indexes, the Russell, the Nasdaq, the Dow, and the S&P 500. So the US 500, the strike price, this is 1947, so that's the strike price that you decide whether or not we're going to be above 1947 by 4:15, which is the time right after the strike. Are we going to be above or are we going to be below? In this specific case, the index was already trading at 1948.3, okay? So we were actually already above that level. You could have bought the option to expire above 1947 for $60 in this case. The total value of the contract is $100, making your max reward when we're above this strike price $40, risking $60. Now that's not the best risk-reward scenario. So on the left-hand side, this is a Nadex binary options order ticket. This is actually where you are going to go ahead and place your orders. In this specific case, the strike price, which you get to decide as the trader if we're going to be above or below, is 1947. The index is trading 1948.3. So if you bought this binary option and we either didn't move or even went down a point, we would be trading 1947.3, or we could go up 3, 4, whatever it is. You would receive the full value of the contract, which is $100. So the full value of the contract, $100. And on this specific case, if you were going long the contract, you would have to pay $60. So the risk to reward would not be skewed in your favor because of the probability of it actually expiring above is greater. However, if you thought we were at resistance and you anticipated us to move back down below 1947 before the given expiration time, you could sell it for $54.50, which would make your risk only $45.50. So then the risk reward would be skewed in your favor. And these binary options, they're going to move as the price moves around the individual strikes. So there's binary options on any given day that are far out of the money for as little as $5, or if they're extremely deep in the money, you could pay $90 as well. So I've had some crazy trades this year. One of them I risked about $1,200 and I made 18 grand in a single trade in a single day. So it's like those are those trades. They're very few and far between that you're going to get that type of move. But intraday, they're one of the best options products to trade, if not the best in my opinion. But they are limited risk contracts based on a simple yes or no market proposition, like will the markets go up at the end of the trading week or will they go down? And binary options offer traders ways to trade the most active stock indexes, commodities, forex events, and even Bitcoin markets with relatively low collateral. They're cash settled with an all or nothing payout, meaning you either are going to get the full value of the contract at expiration if you are correct on your assumption, or you will not receive anything. So I have two examples here with contract prices and expiration prices to show you guys what that would look like. In this specific case, the USD CAD above 135.06, and we expire at 135.08, so just 2 pips above. The payout value would be $100, or the total value of the contract. And then here's another one, USD CAD, which would have been greater than 135.16, and we trade at 135.05. That means your assumption was wrong. The payout value would then be 0. Just a reminder, it is possible to cut losses or take profits. You do not have to hold all the way till the expiration. You can, in fact, actually take it off if we're running in. You can trade in and out of it just like you would an index or a option or a stock. Let's see here. All right, so why are binary options better than regular trading options? And once again, this is my opinion. Other people could disagree with me, but with regular options, you got the theta, the delta. Are you going to do a weekly or a monthly? Are you selling a put, buying a call? What's the vega? Which expiration are you choosing? Is the historical volatility lower than the current volatility? Are you going to buy a put, sell a call? What I love about binary options is I'm focused on price. I'm deciding whether or not we're going to be above or below a level or even touch a certain level. Sometimes I'll buy out of the money options with the expectation that it's just going to touch the level where that option will go from, say, $25 to $50 a contract, which is 100% return, and then just trade out of it. So that being able to focus on price and not so much the noise in between. I don't know how many of you guys in here actively trade options. I actively traded options up until about 2013, and one thing that always just irked me was being right on price but not getting paid on the option, whether the market maker move was kind of already priced in. Say the market maker move was priced in for a $5 move, and you get a move in the direction you're anticipating, but then your option contract either declines in value or doesn't go anywhere. There's nothing worse than being right on price but not being paid. When you're trading binary options, if you're right on price, you will be paid. In me being a technical analyst, I'm very focused on being right on price while controlling risk. That's why I like this product better than traditional options. So why Nadex binary options as opposed to another option contract or traditional options? It's a CFTC registered exchange clearinghouse, which means it adheres to the regulations, including matching buyers and sellers and not participating in the trade. So Nadex is actually not participating in the trades. They're not some kind of bucket shop, which some of the foreign regulated or foreign unregulated brokers are. Nadex holds all member funds in segregated accounts in top-tier banks, Fifth Third Bank, BMO Harris. It gets its income solely from exchange fees and not from taking positions in the market. And this is the difference between an exchange and a broker. A few of my favorite benefits, though: limited risk. The maximum amount you can lose on every trade is your original investment. And then the low collateral required. Because binary options are priced between $0 and $100, that allows smaller accounts to limit their risk. Typically, you're not buying contracts for $100. I would say the most of my trades are taking place between $30 a contract to $50, sometimes $60 a contract I'll pay up, but I try to have the risk reward in my favor. So I'm never going to buy an option contract that costs me $90 because my risk is only $10, or $80 because my reward is only $20 on an $80 risk. There's short-term contracts that have expirations ranging from 5 minutes to 1 week. Somebody's got their mic on here. One of the, I think Larry does. Okay, mute Larry. My favorite part, though, is I know when I enter into the contract what exactly my profit or loss is going to be based on where price is. So there's no being right on the move but being wrong and not getting paid. Price is king, and binary options are the best product for price action traders. Nadex commission and cost structure. So that's another benefit here. So what you see, how many of you guys have a account at one of the brokerages you see on my screen? I mean, these are pretty much some of the major brokerages out there, and these are all of their option commission prices, which it's the option base fee, and then there's a per contract charge. Pretty much every single one of these brokers has a ticket charge, which is the cost of actually placing just in any trade, and then a per contract charge above that. Nadex, there's no ticket charge. There is a per contract charge of $1 a piece, and that is capped at $50. So if you're trading more than 50 contracts, if you're a bigger trader, you actually have the advantage of not having to pay commissions past your first 50 contracts. There's no additional fees, and that is for getting into the move as well as getting out of the move. If you were going to trade a binary option contract for, say, $50 on any, say like United States Steel, you wanted to trade an option contract for $50, the cheapest option here is Option House, the cheapest commission, and it's $4.95 plus 50 cents, and that is the cheapest. It gets as expensive as $6.95 for the trade and 75 cents per commission. So in and out, you're looking at right about $11 to get in and out of a trade. And if you're buying a $50 option and it costs $11 to get in and out, you need a 20% move in that option contract just to break even. So that's pretty significant when it comes to the cost basis that commissions are going to eat into, especially accounts that are trading smaller amounts of money. And then I'm going to just do a commission comparison for the S&P 500. The SPY, which would be the ETF that tracks the futures, and then Nadex binary options, which is the option contract for the S&P 500 as a US 500. So they're tracking the same underlying. The commission for one contract in Nadex, $1. The commission for one contract in the SPY would be $7.70 using I think that's using Thinkorswim. Commissions for 100 contracts, $81.95. For 100 in Nadex, it's $50. You need $187 to trade one contract. So if you have a $1,000 account, which is a pretty small trading account, and the minimum amount you can use to buy an at-the-money contract is $187, that's 18.7% risk on your account, which is way too high to ever be successful at trading. If you, even 5% is high. So with a $1,000 account, if you bought one contract in and out, it's going to cost you $52.25 in this example. That's still 5% of risk on your account, which is pretty high, but much, much better than 18% risk. So when you're thinking about controlling the risk and taking trades with a lower percentage of risk on your account, this is a great way to begin doing that. There's 7 reasons traders fail. They trade products they don't understand. They don't know their exact max risk and their exact max reward upon trade entry, creating psychological confusion. I can't tell you how many times when I first started trading that I would get in a trade and kind of freeze. I would have a plan. I would think where I knew I wanted to exit, but then the option price would maybe either drop quicker than I anticipated, and you kind of freeze. So without understanding your exact max risk and your exact max reward upon entry, you're going to find yourself in a state of confusion where you're probably freezing and making human error. Human error is probably one of the most expensive things you can constantly occur in trading, where you yourself are just not following a rule set. So to eliminate as many errors as you can make as possible is a great way to start. A lot of traders have no defined setups, no defined entry process, no defined exit process, which means no trading process and no long-term profits without that. They use lagging momentum-based indicators that have been around before the iPhone or Android device that you're currently using. Well, they've been around longer than Facebook, and some of them have even been around longer than modern-day high-speed internet. If you're using those lagging momentum indicators, I hope you have a secondary entry mechanism like price or something like that. But a lot of traders react to price rather than having a plan of where to trade in advance. They don't set their limits before they trade. Instead, they see the market move and feel the need to jump in or jump out of a trade, usually making them either sell the low or buy the high, which is a brutally humbling experience that we've probably all done. That can make you addicted to chasing both up and down moves, which I see a lot of times with newer traders who haven't developed the patience it takes to wait for their own setups. And then number 7, most people have really just never been trained in proper technical analysis and are still using very basic strategies like head and shoulders and diamond patterns that have been around for 30 years plus. A couple of my favorite quotes here. If a speculator is correct half of the time, he is hitting a good average. Even being right 3 or 4 times out of 10 should yield a person a fortune if he has the sense to cut his losses quickly on ventures where he is wrong. That is Bernard Baruch, famous speculator, robber baron from the early 20th century. And then Paul Tudor Jones, who I'm sure you're all aware of who he is. If you are not, just go ahead and Google it. Not now, though. I'm always thinking about losing money as opposed to making money. Don't focus on making money. Focus on protecting what you have. There could not be a truer trading quote out there. You must protect your capital if you plan on increasing your capital. My best 6 setups to trade Nadex. Now we're going to get into the strategies I use to trade this product I've just introduced you to, that is going to open up your view of the trading world. And even if you hop on a demo account, it's probably going to be one of the most exciting things you've done in your trading, or will be the most exciting thing you'll do in 2018 as far as trading, changing your strategy, learning something new, learning a new product, and learning a new way to trade that product. So we have the charge, which is my favorite setup. I'm going to show you guys that here right after the slideshow. And then we have the halfway back, which is great for trending markets. We have the bully, which is the trade I use during consolidations. And then I have one called the dive, which I use to catch breakouts and breakdowns of consolidations. And then the leg start, which is a method used to identify support and resistance before they actually trade, going back to that saying, identify support and resistance before it trades, not after. And then the flunk teaches you how to avoid the chase. So the charge trade, grab that pen and paper before we begin, and then start writing this stuff down. So this is going to occur on days where the market is going to trend and you're going to see a gap off the open. So the first set of criteria you want to see to get this trade to set up is a gap up or a gap down. Once you have a gap up or a gap down in the indexes, you're looking for 3 15-minute bars to trade all in the same direction. So that means they're all going to be red, or they're all going to be green. 3 bars up, 45 minutes into the day. I also call this my breakfast trade, because by the time you're done eating breakfast, you can actually just look at the market with one glance and decide whether or not this trade has set up. So gap up, 3 15-minute bars in the same direction. What are you looking for then? A 50% retracement for the day. So from the low of the day to the high of the day divided by 2, that becomes the support or resistance level depending on the direction the market is trending. So that might all seem a little confusing, but don't worry, because I have a couple of slideshows where I'm going to show you a picture of how this is working out. In this case, we have a gap down and a 3-bar move off the open. 45 minutes into the day, you're done eating breakfast. The market pulls back into that 50% retracement. That is your buy zone. Now, because the way binary options work, all I'm looking for is that level to trade. And once that level trades, I'm going to look at the closest strike to that. And all I want it to do, all I want the market to do, is stay above that level in a long setup. So we have a 3-bar move off the open, a pullback in the 50% retracement, 21,145. Stay above that level and move higher. Same setup, different day. Gap up, in this case, 3-bar move off the open, that 50% retracement, that is your entry. When we get that halfway back, all you're looking for it to do is stay above the closest strike to that support level. So it's a simple mathematical formula. Same setup, different market. This one to the downside. Gap down, 3 bars, all red. You're done eating breakfast. We pull into that 50% retracement. That is where you're going to look to sell the Nadex binary option contract, anticipating it to stay below that level the rest of the day. So how do I choose strikes? So I like to go out to the end of the day, and if you would like, you can actually spread your risk, because Nadex offers multiple strikes, meaning you can go out to the hourlies, you can go out to even they have 20-minute strikes. I typically do not trade those, but I will trade no less than 45 minutes. So the expiration has to be at least 45 minutes or longer away from the time of entry, and then I'll also look out towards the end of the day for an expiration trade. The MLT proprietary charge trade indicator is a custom indicator I've created for this. So with automation and everything, competing against computers, black box systems, this is kind of what's called or considered a gray box system, where not all of the work is done for you. You can't close your eyes, shut off your computer, and just expect the market to make you money. But this is a gray box system, meaning it gives me all of the criteria and lets me know when this trade has set up. It's going to tell me if it's a long or short trade. It's going to tell me my entry level as well as my stop. The exit can be based on time or price. Or you can look at some fib targets. So let me show you what this looks like, because I had to hire a programmer to design this. So I was like, hey, check this out. I have this set up, but what I want to do is I want to kind of not fully automate it because it's not taking the trade from me, but at least point out what's going on. So we have a 3-bar move off the open. It'll tell me MLT charge trade long. A green line will come across my screen. It gives me my target buy as well as my stop. And then I'm just waiting to pull back to buy the entry. And I have to do that manually. A little bit of work. You do have to place the order, which is good because I like to decide whether or not I want to take the trade. Same setup, different day. 3-bar move off the open. We get that green line, gives you my target buy entry as well as my stop, tells me that the charge trade long is triggered, and we run right into that 50% retracement level. All I'm looking for it to do is close above. Here's another great example. This specific setup is one, if there's anything you're going to take away from this presentation, remember this. This setup only happens a couple times a year, but it's usually the low, and we have a continued rally from that point. But if we have a 5-bar move off the open that pulls back within 30 minutes and then instantly takes out its high, that's usually a very large swing low, and that just means the money flow is straight on the buy side. 5-bar move off the open, we did get that halfway back level, and then you instantly take out the previous high. Same setup, different day. It's a little bit of a different variation, but a 5-bar move off the open is very strong. So putting ideas into action in what I do every single day and kind of what helps me and how I like to help my members is creating a trade plan based on levels of support and resistance that we come up with using Fibonacci analysis in the setups I taught you here today. Then we're aware of market-moving economic news, so going over the forex factory calendar, the Bloomberg U.S. economic calendar, and being aware of, like today, we had crude oil inventories, and last time I checked, oil was selling off. Not sure what it's doing now, but you need to know support and resistance levels before they trade. You need to know economic news before it comes out. That doesn't mean you have to trade off the fundamentals or whatever the news says. The whole purpose of knowing the time of the news release is so you can know that liquidity is going to come into that market. Examples are oil today, USD CAD off the rate decision. I don't really pay attention to what the actual numbers are. I'm just aware of, hey, at 10:30, the crude oil inventories report is going to come out. That's probably going to create price action, which is going to allow me as a trader to decide whether or not we're going to be above or below a level, because there should be a great reaction. The MLT trade plan is something I do every morning. It's about 15 minutes long. I then email it out to all of my members to kind of guide them throughout the beginning of the day. And then I created this other custom study here that you see on the right-hand side of my screen. Each one of these bubbles represents a Nadex strike that you can decide as a trader whether or not we will be above or below at the end of the day. And then I highlight just some day trading levels that most traders should be aware of, which really helps new traders who don't really know what exactly to look at. Things like the value area, the floor trader pivots, previous day's highs and lows, as well as the European close in the settlement, which is the 415 close. My question is, are you willing to take steps to change your trading habits for increased profits? There's 4 steps to trading, guys. You need to know all of them. Trading a product with risk to reward known at entry. Then you have to eliminate psychological mistakes by reducing the complexity. Focus on a more simpler form of trading, not 30 indicators on your screen all conflicting each other. Define setups that are going to occur every day of trading, which I have done. I have 6 setups. At least one of them goes off every single day of trading. I keep those setups printed out on my desk so I never have to second guess myself. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And then you have to go ahead and execute those setups based on price, and then ignore the noise of lagging momentum indicators that are older, or I should say older than your grandchildren if you have them, or children if you have them, or maybe they're older than you. So what I've done here is I've built a course that has an incredible amount of value. The indicator I showed you guys normally is $197, okay? I have live trading videos with tens of thousands of dollars of profits with showing you how I manage real world trades. Once again, I am literally the YouTube record holder of largest recorded profit for this Nadex product. So there's nobody that's actually recorded a bigger P&L than I have. And then I'm going to introduce you, if you don't already have good charting software, I'm going to give you some charting software and a tutorial with it. If you have your own software, that works as well. You're going to get 1 month of the morning trade plan, which I'm going to send to you. And then this is a lifetime membership access class. And there's 6 setups I'm going to teach you with inside this class. It's the breakfast trade, the halfway back, the bully, the dive, the leg start, the flunk. And then I'm going to show you how I eliminate market noise and focus on trading only the absolute best trading setups in this class. Now, with the indicator being valued at $197 and the total course value being over $2,000, you would think something like this would cost maybe $400, $500. But today, for the first 20 traders, it's going to be $197 available on demand immediately. How do you get started? You got to go to www.mltnadex.com to enroll in the class. Those 6 setups I told you I'm going to teach you, I'm going to email you a cheat sheet which you're going to be able to print out and keep on your desk to know what you're looking for. I want you to plan your trade using these setups and keep a journal of the setups and track your results. I have a formula in the program that allows you to plug in your personal results to decide what your expectancy is for each setup. So you take the trades, you track your results. I'm going to have you plug it in this formula, and it's going to appropriate your risk size based on your account and your probability, your historical probability of a positive edge. Now, remember to watch the MLT Morning Trade Plan videos because they're going to help you formulate an opinion of the trend. And before every trade, ask yourself, what is the trend? Where is the major support and resistance? And what is your risk to reward? You are going to learn a simplified way to get all of the answers at www.mltnadex.com. And if you have any questions, what you can do is actually shoot me an email at support@majorleaguetrading.com. So with that being said, if you have any questions here right now, go ahead and shoot them at me, and I will answer them today here. Been getting whipped in my futures trading, loving Nadex. Enjoy your channel. Do you watch my YouTube channel, Kelvin? Oh, cool. I'm profitable in demo. Yeah, I had a $58,000 Nadex trade earlier this year, and that's the one that is actually the biggest one on YouTube. Cool. Nadex has a large supply of market makers to take trades, unlike Candor. Yeah, that's the problem. Like Candor is the other regulated exchange. However, it's just not, they just don't have the maturity that Nadex does. They don't have the market maker backing, and the spreads are much wider. That's just why I don't trade it, but they are the only other regulated broker as of right now. Any questions on the, Kelvin, have you got this course yet? Have you got the Nadex Master Course? How much money does one need to start trading Nadex binary options? So Andy, the minimum is $250. So you could start an account with $250. I've had many students do it. I had one student actually start with $2,000, and he took that $2,000 and turned it into a career. Guy actually bought a $500,000 house and himself a Mercedes G-Wagon. Probably one of the more crazy success stories I have seen with this Nadex product. Obviously, you can't promise that to happen, but that's kind of the outlier of what I've seen. Oh, you began looking at Nadex this week after my video popped up. Cool. I also watch your YouTube channel. You're awesome, Jack. Glad to be on your team. Awesome, Daniel. Daniel, do you have the Nadex course? I would like to ask, even in option contract, there is need of immense knowledge of technical analysis and chart patterns. Amit, so as far as needing an immense amount of knowledge, I think trading is one of those things that really the knowledge is always growing. I started knowing absolutely nothing, and I'm talking nothing, just probably maybe one of you guys are in this situation where you just got into trading. I knew nothing about technical analysis. Every trader starts knowing nothing. That's why we make courses to speed up the process of teaching technical patterns and really moving you along in your own trading journey faster than you would on your own. Do you still offer the FIB course you're working on? Yes, I am, Marcelo. That one, the FIB course is $1,000. Reading chart patterns will help in every market. All right, guys, we're going to have 3 spots left now at this price. All right, guys, any more questions here about your well, Craig, you're going to have to go through it.
Jack, this is Dan. Just a reminder that you have until 12 o'clock, so if you've got trading examples or people want to call out charts or things you can look at, that'd be great. Seems like your sound might have cut out again.
Yeah, I just muted myself. So yeah, I mean, we have a couple of. So this is what I do every day in my morning trade plan. It's kind of through these levels. The only trade I have on right now is a short contract and oil futures right here. So I can kind of go over this trade in the oil futures market, which I'm up about $1,200, which obviously I trade Nadex binary options as well as futures. Let's see here. Is this chat pop us back out? So, let's say wrong chat. Questions here. Yeah, you know what? I forgot. We are actually running a special. It's 97, not 197 here today, Andy. So you actually got lucky here. The course is not going to be 197. It's actually $97 here today. I forgot we were running a I think it's a 70% off. MLTnadex.com. Let's see here. www.mltnadex.com. Send to all. There you go. So yeah, it is actually running a better special here. But yeah, so let me talk about this trade and what kind of setup it is from the course here. But this is the halfway back trade. When you get a significant move from one end of the market to the other, I look to get short. So we had a complete breakdown from last Friday's high to low, and then we pulled back up into this sell zone, and that is where I began getting short. My target down here is going to be 55.93 on this futures contract here. So that is still about 40 pips away, and that'll make this trade. And it's just a one contract in CL. It's really not even that big of a position size, but it'll be a $1,600 trade, which is, you know, enough money for me in a week to live the lifestyle I want to live. I don't have kids though, so if you got kids, you might need to double that contract size. And then we also had a very clean halfway back here in the Nasdaq yesterday. So once again, once you get a significant breakdown, the all-time high of the Nasdaq from last Tuesday to low, the 50% retracement is 63 to 32. And as long as we're below that level, guys, we are going to continue to target down into 61.88. If we break above those levels, that'll invalidate this current pattern. And what we're basing on right here is the high of yesterday to low. That's this level here at 62.86 that I have highlighted. You can see that's where the resistances come in today. So the trading setups I'm going to be teaching you in the Nadex Master Course are all math-based setups. And the indicators, so you're going to get one indicator with the course. We have, and that's with the trade setup I showed you. We have 4 more indicators that go with the other trading setups. They're called our Nadex indicator package. So there's actually 5 indicators. Each indicator is paired with a setup to help you identify those individual setups, Alfredo. But once again in the ES, another halfway back setup. Yesterday's high to low, the halfway back is 26.34. So what you're going to learn in this training program is actually how to set up these fib levels, when to draw, and as well as the software tutorial on this trading platform. So you're going to have a ton of setups to learn. And you know, a lot of you guys, like I said, I've heard a lot of you guys say you watch my YouTube channel. Well, really, if you want to dive into the information and pick my brain, all of that's in the course. There's a lot of things I just don't post publicly on the YouTube channel because I can't give away everything that I've worked very hard for on the internet. Otherwise, people would just be copying me and, you know, really not being able to learn intimately through one of my courses. So that's the benefit of, you know, getting the Nadex Master Course or any of the other courses. Kelvin, no, it's not. You can try the 2Gs to a G, 2K to a G-Wagon was in under a year, Kelvin. The live trading room, you can take the trial, or we have a 6-month offer for $4.99 in the trade room. And yeah, so obviously he's like one of my crazier success stories, but he took $2,000. So his trading strategy is he takes $2,000 and begins his account with $2,000 every week and then aggressively trades it. He took $2,000 to like 42,000, and I want to say it was like a week and a half. Pretty crazy stuff. But yeah, that's, you know, I'm not promising anybody else is going to do that, but it's just really that there's really no other product you can actually do that with. Yeah, support at Major League Trading. You know, if Amit, if you want to share your charts with me, you know, I only am going to do that for my students. I'm not going to go ahead and just let anybody just share their charts with me. And you know, my time is very valuable, so I'm not going to answer an email unless you're one of my students regarding advice on charts. I don't just give out my time for free like that. If you're one of my students, I will take my time with you. You can answer or ask questions in my trade room, but if you're not one of my students, I'm not going to take the time to do that. just to give you guys one of the next trade setups I'm looking at here. So this is about knowing support levels before they trade. We have a halfway back leg start combo here in the Dow, and you can, write up this level and come back to me when it trades and bounces and say, oh, he really does know what he's talking about. When we get down to 24,054 to 24,045 here in the Dow, that is my support level I'm waiting for to trade. So I'm identifying this support level through the lessons I'm going to be teaching you in the course, and it's not, when we trade down there, there's going to be people who see us take out this Wednesday low and go, oh, we're going to break down, and then I'm going to be prepared with a trade to actually go long. And we're actually really breaking down here now in oil. So, if you would have just taken this oil trade, if you guys trade futures, you'll actually benefit from this course as well. But Nadex is the sole product behind this course. How about if anybody has a market here they'd like me to go over, feel free to mention it. Yeah, and like I said, guys, this is actually not $197. It's 97 bucks. So look at it from a risk-reward perspective. Worst case scenario, you spend 97 bucks here to get the course at www.mltnadex.com, and you never open it, you never go through it. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, you become my next student that bought a G-Wagon, which is kind of crazy because it's a really nice car. Just pull the trigger on your program. Super excited. Awesome. US 500. Let's take a look at it. So right now, the US 500 has resistance at 2634, and I have support levels in the US 500 down at, I would like to see retested on the higher time frame is just like 2610. This 2610 is a major level of support for me, and that's where I want to see the market trade over the course of the next week. That's going to be where I'm looking to take my next bigger trade, 2610.5 in the S&P 500 and the US 500. Oil, 55.93 is that next major support level, but we're kind of topping out here in oil. We could fall actually as far as like 54.08 in oil if we don't hold 55.93, which is a full more than $2,000 a contract from where we're currently trading. All right, Euro USD, let's take a look at that. Do you prefer daily or weekly Nadex contracts? I prefer dailies, but I will look at weeklies. The weeklies are a little wide for me. If I'm going to swing something over a weekly time frame, I'm probably just going to trade it in futures. But I mean, I will trade. It depends on if you're working and you want to so Right now, my next setup in the euro on the daily chart, I would like to see us trade back into 117. So the halfway back from the lows of the November 7th to high is 117.57. I want to watch that. We're in a downtrend, and what I would be watching here is either the full halfway back from highs, which is 118.61, or the full halfway back from lows. Those are the two trading setups I'm going to look for. You did have a dive trade set up here today in the euro to the downside, but right now 118.61 and 117.57. I'm going to set alerts on both of those levels in the euro USD. What we had here, I mean, there was a halfway back, so as soon as we broke out of the swing high here today, there was a 50% retracement that ran 2 profit targets. So you can see, like, a lot of times on the smaller levels, we ran 2 profit targets from there, and we dove through these lows. That has hit profit targets. So right now, there's no trade setup. If we ran into the next measured move, if you want to be aggressive, 118.06 is going to be a resistance level above, and that is the last swing high, too low, divided by 2. And that's where I'll look for a trading setup. Any other markets? Come on, guys. What are you trading? What are you trading? MLTNadex.com. I just want to talk about the offer one more time. Let's see, where are you? It's going to be $97. I forgot that we are doing it's like a 70% discount. $97 here today, guys. www.mltnadex.com. If you like my presentation and your last cheap date costs you more than $100, this is going to be probably the best trading course you ever get for $97. And I'm looking forward to helping guide you guys along for the next month through my morning trade plan and for lifetime through that course. So www.mltnadex.com, guys. But that'll be it for me if nobody else has any more questions. Thank you for your time. Oh, a couple more. Earl Jenkins, let's go. Is there an MLT preferred platform? Yeah, Thinkorswim is our preferred platform. We share our levels through there. It's a really nice feature where I'm able to do my technical analysis, and then I share my levels in the room. Great Britain Pound USD. So right now, Great Britain Pound USD is what I would like to look for here. It is in a downtrend, but if we can get back above this 134 level, I believe we're going to trigger some shorts up into 135.40. So we have a halfway back short. There is a downside profit target at 133.30. So I would actually, at this point in time, probably stay out of it until we traded 133.30, and then I would take this high too low and look for an entry there. And then AUD USD. Have resistance levels at 76.75 that I was waiting to trade, but we are definitely in a downtrend in this market as well on pretty much every single time frame. 76.75 is a daily level of resistance I'm waiting for there. Do you have to pay for Thinkorswim? Nope, it's free. None of the platforms we use you have to pay for. We don't, we try to eliminate as much cost as possible associated with trading because we know that you guys need that money in their account. There are other instructors at MLT. You will have access to me in the trade room. You can always email in questions You can take our trade room trial for $7 if you'd like, or you can get a 6-month membership in for $100 off. But that'll do it for me here today, guys. And it looks like we've had 18 people sign up, so 2 more spots left, and then that special will end.